Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
Bonjour, Annie. Good morning, everyone. Bon dia, Aurora.
Good morning to all.
Bom dia, António. Good morning, António. Hello, good
Bon
morning
dia.
to all. Good morning, especially to Lisa. How are you, Lisa?
Hola, bom dia.
Hello, Antonio. Good morning to all.
Buongiorno.
Good morning, everybody.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Buongiorno, Vincenzo. Grazie mille.
Good morning, everybody.
Okay. Good morning.
Good
Ula.
morning. In this case, I dare to jump in as I see Lisa here. This is Andre. Good morning, and happy that she's happy that she's there. And thanks to Antonio for setting this up. I don't leave you, but I mute myself. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Andre.
much.
Thank you to
And
you.
let me say, Antonio, I enjoyed very much your presentation yesterday to the Economic and Social Committee. Very good.
Thank you. It was very interesting hearing so many representatives and so much knowledge there. I hope to deepen our relationship with them. Yeah. So thank you, everybody. As you know, we try to be very, very to the point with our interventions and to respect the timetable. So we will start immediately. We have today as the main topic how to strengthen the European capacities on advanced textiles for fighting crisis as the one caused by the COVID-19. And today we have two excellent examples of what the European society and the European enterprises is doing in this field, okay? From different fields, one from the business field, and thanks Lisa to come here, okay? And the other one from the social economy, social responsibility side with excellent example from Goel Group. Okay, so we will start with Lisa. Lisa, you are welcome. The floor is yours. You have 10 minutes. I will give you the presentation rights, okay? Or I can,
Yes.
if you want. Yeah, okay.
Excellent. Hello, good morning. Thank you so much to all of you for having me. We're waiting for the presentation, right?
I think that I gave you, sorry.
Sorry, okay. So like I just like start my screen, right? That's the idea?
Yes, you need to share your screen.
Yeah. 1 second. Enter for, here we go. Oh, I have to. See, technology is not gonna stop us talking about technology.
For sure.
So, but I can't see, okay, I can't see the screen now, huh?
Yes. Now we are seeing your screen, but
okay.
not yet.
Do you see the
not the presentation, not yet.
So you see my messy desktop. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Now, yes.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Good. So, I tell you like a little bit what actually happened in the last 2 months with us and the team here in Portugal. So I moved to Portugal. I'm originally from Germany because I wanted to go into textile manufacturing, and we were just about to start a project called Reprogram the Machines. Because, you know, textile machines are like computers. I'm a software engineer. Of course, I'm going to reprogram them. 2 weeks before the crisis hit, we started a knitting project. We teamed up with artists, painters, took their designs, put them in our software and put them on knitting machines to show art and technology can work together. And we went on a Kickstarter campaign, which was supposed to be 4 weeks. And then in the middle of it, the crisis hit. And we were like, uh-oh. But the interesting thing, because this was kind of like the birth to all of the journey I'm going to tell you now, is like that we actually sat down with the team and said like, okay, should we actually do this? Should we continue with like arts technology while everyone is going crazy? And we decided yes, for two reasons. First of all, art and technology, especially in an interdisciplinary content, now have to work together. And secondly, we have to save our local manufacturers. Because if we stop the project now, because everything else just like went up in the air. So, and that kind of like mindset came, it's like, well, first of all, what we need is like, we need to rethink of like the kind of products we need out there now. And secondly, we have to support our local manufacturing. So we finished that project successfully. And actually got overfunded, and the machines are on, and we're actually shipping at the moment. In the meantime, what we started is actually, because here in Portugal there is an entire cluster from small and medium sized manufacturing companies. So I was like, and this was already really early in March, I just like, okay, the next commodity is going to be mask protective gear. But if just like one factory produces for itself, it's not going to be enough. There will be huge quantities which will be needed. And then I just simply went to all of the manufacturers and said like, how about we are, creating a consortium where we agree to a standard. Here comes the German engineer, sorry. So we all agree to a certain cutting pattern standards to prices. And with all of that, we can order a very huge quantity for a very competitive price. But of course, not with children's hands made, but like made in Europe, and also from a sustainability perspective, because what we started with is we just used dead stock for social masks. So there was the factory, we had all of the machines, we had all of the hands, we had the patterns, and then we just converted dead stock into social masks. We had a factory, which is actually a tie factory. They usually make really nice ties. Well, they turned their ties into masks, and they actually looked really nice, because like in the world of lockdown, you're not gonna wear ties, right? But at least you wear your tie as a mask. So like all of these like funny stories. It was actually really nice, like to everyone to come to unite. And that's how we I started to approach customers and say like, look, this is actually a purpose. You not only buy a mask, you actually support the community. We are also donating to social causes, and you're actually strengthening the European manufacturing. And that also gave us an extra strength for the customer as well. We get a lot of feedback from customer that actually purpose is a new commodity. People buying into brands, into stories, what's behind it, and that will last. Another thing actually also is because, of course, I went into the system and I said, okay, what is actually the problem? One of the issues in Europe is like, of course, we shipped off manufacturing capacities to outside Europe. This is biting us back. So, but on the other side, actually our advantages in Europe, what we have is like, we have very highly skilled textile makers. So like everything in medical gear, fleece making, there's a very high engineering skills everywhere across Europe, but the hands who can make that into a product are usually missing. So one of the examples, what we actually did is, so we teamed up with a German medical company. They usually make medical products. And they got the certification for FFP2. There is a speed up version DIN 149 now, so that's really good from the European perspective. There is a process now which makes the certification process far more quicker. So they didn't make masks before, but they were in medical tech already. So very quickly they got their certification. And then they couldn't produce because they're like, we simply don't have enough hands in Germany to make huge quantities. And that's through Eurotex, the platform. I actually got connected with them through the platform. And I was like, hello, we have a lot of capable hands in Portugal. And then actually we did kind of IKEA style, because the thing is, of course, in order to keep the certification, there has to be some certain, standard level. So we get kind of IKEA kits, right? Shipped from Germany to Portugal, then they will be sold, and then we just like ship them everywhere else. And this is actually a really good example of like, you know, everybody has strengths, and you know, if we work together, we can actually solve a problem together. Another really interesting thing is like what we're currently working on is like everything around technical textiles, especially as like fleece technologies. So especially in Europe with technical textiles, they are simply just textile suppliers, right? They're just like, well, I can give you a fleece, I can give you a piece of string and yarn, but like, again, you have to make it yourself. And then the problem is, if you want to make it yourself in big quantities, where do you actually go in Europe? And again, Portugal is usually the answer for that. You know, not one of, but you know, because Portugal is one of them. I don't want to, I know like, otherwise the other manufacturing hubs are going to kill me. So, but this is just like for inspiration, because what I'm trying to show here is like there is a certain kind of framework what you can build up, and everything what I'm telling you, you can very quickly actually like replicate in your region or in your country, and also like cross European connections as well. And I'm very happy to share that knowledge. I will come back to that later. So again, just like an example. So there is a fleece manufacturer, medical gear, that had nothing to do with masks, but they're actually using fleece, which fleece technologies which have antibacterial, antiviral properties. And they like came to me, it's like, so we need masks. And I was like, okay, I need the fleece. And now we are shipping, and they're shipping to us. We're making the masks and embedding the fleece. And again, also because in times of uncertainties, people are usually reluctant, especially when they come from a conservative industry, to experiment. You know, they fall back into like the old system. And so, of course, I had to go to my manufacturers and say like, okay, you've never worked with this textile before. But, you know, I kind of convinced you to make masks before also, and it actually worked out for you. So here comes the next round. And they were a little bit like, okay, crazy lady, but here we go. So we found like a way how to cut those fleece in really high quantities, so we can insert them into the mask. Again, workflow framework, you know, in order to scale. So another thing also in terms of like sharing knowledge. So also like what you know, you might can't see that, but like my floor is covered with textiles. I have my sewing machine here. And also, of course, like I have like my remote seamstresses, because we're doing prototyping. There is actually like, I'm having a lot of fun because there is time for very serious innovation. The whole commodity of masks is so old. It doesn't work. And also it hasn't been designed to actually be worn a long time. So we just started to do a lot of design, a lot of like add-ons, you know, which actually makes it more comfortable to wear the mask. But we all did that in the context of a seamstress office. So we said like, okay, we can't just like introduce 3D printers and 3D print gadgets or something like that. My head of seamstress, she would go crazy with that. But we have hooks, we have fabrics, we have buttons, we have stretch material. What can we make? What can we do with the facilities, with the fabrics we have? Again, one form of sustainability, just like applied for real. So, and then actually like I came up with a whole array of like new designs, which also we actually registered at the EU IPO, also because like I wanted to figure out how it is to actually trademark designs on the European Union. Now I know it works. So, and from Monday onwards, every day we will actually release our design patterns on Creative Commons for everyone to use. In Creative Commons, that means like in, you know, commercial, you have to come to me, but like we are enabling for you know, the grandma next door who wants to make something, you know, for like small commodities, it's totally fine. I don't want to compete on, you know, a technical framework. I want to compete on innovation. So that is like one of those things. Just follow us on social media because we will release those designs, and there are lots of them step by step from next week onwards. Another thing also is what we just as a team just decided is just, this is actually a great time to think about art in a time where we go crazy, where everything feels like really, you know, dark. We actually need art. It keeps us sane. At the same time, of course, we have to protect and support our artists because, you know, they've lost their ability to sell. So we actually just introduced a project called the Capaz project. Capaz is the Portuguese word for like capable, you know, to do something. So we are actually turning masks into an art commodity item. In the old world before COVID, kind of like sneakers, you know, so people connected sneakers as like a, you know, collector's item and exhibited them as an art piece, but actually never wore them. Well, see, this is the thing what we think about masks. They are going to be a commodity. They're going to be here to stay. And they also mean they're like your canvas. You can make a statement. But of course, for the artists, it's really difficult to produce small quantities and also to have actually the expertise how to make them. Well, we can do that. So we also, we are teaming up with artists. It's also kind of like our way to keep sane, because it's what we're doing is really, really hard. And for us as a team, we just said like, okay, let's have a little bit of fun and do something pretty. And also for us to just, you know, stay happy and focused. And finally, talking about focused is through all of that work, all of that time, I came through across one big main issue, which has been there all the time, but got accelerated through this crisis. And I, for myself, decided, okay, this is now the time where we finally have to fix that issue. We have a big issue. It's like protective gear is based on male fit, because those standardifications all around got like around the 70s. So the issue is now is like that we are sending soldiers into the war, which, you know, with gear which is actually not designed for them and doesn't fit. And the fit issues in protective gear, for instance, are between 15 and 23%, which is significant. This is just an example. It's like, this is a Scottish nurse which posted on social media and saying like, this is an issue. We have 83% of our you know, support staff out there are women. 83%, and we're giving the gear which, like, you know, on average is like 18% doesn't fit. There will be a statistics that like females will be more hurt by COVID crisis simply because we couldn't give them enough gear. So and also you might have noticed that the scarves in these women are far deeper than with men, because those masks don't fit. They have to pull them harder into their face, and of course that leaves marks. So all of a sudden, I turned into a medical gear certification expert. This is an issue. This is an issue, and like, and also, but to solve it, and this is what we will do, is like, so we teamed up with our German certification company, and we decided, okay, because the DIN, here comes the interesting thing, the DIN standard doesn't say the measurements of the mask. It just says like, this is the filtration, this is the fit. The sizing actually comes from the factories. So, well, you know, and then I was like, okay, yeah, I'm in the factories. So very, very soon we will, you know, change our cutting patterns. That means we have to re-certify the masks, but okay, that's just what it will do, because we need very well fit masks, not only for women, but also for children. And that is kind of like our new mission. What happened, and all of that, what I just told you, happened in the last 8 weeks. Oops. And now I wanted to do very dramatically inspiration. Here you go. There's my email address. Talk to me.
Thank you, and congratulations, Lisa. You deserve a very, very big applause. It has been a wonderful presentation. We will come back to you later, okay? But now it's time for hearing Vincenzo from the Goel Group.
Thanks. We have an ethical fashion brand. Our brand is Cangiari. Cangiari is the first ethical high fashion brand in Italy, born more than 12 years ago. and Kanjari born inside a particular group, because Kanjari is a trademark owned by Goel Cooperative Group. Goel Cooperative Group, born in Calabria, with the mission, with the objective to change and redemption our region. Calabria is the 5th region in Europe for young unemployment. We have 55% of young unemployment rate. And after is a region where actually there is the first and most powerful mafia in the world. The name of this mafia is 'Ndrangheta. Well, Goel Group want to demonstrate that ethics is not only a fair way, but it's also the more effective way to develop the territory. And then we try to demonstrate this through many activities in different sectors. Social services, health services, agriculture, organic agriculture, responsible tourism, and of course, ethical fashion. Well, ethical fashion born from a particular history, because Calabria is a wonderful region with a strong, friendly people, and has also a strong tradition about weaving. The first handlooms in Europe coming from the old big Greek. And then in many families of Calabria, up to 50 years ago, they own an handloom in the house, and most of their tissues is handmade. Young women who spoke to Goel decided to go to the 5-year-old magistrate still living in the territory. The magistrate is not a simple weavers. They were the handloom teachers who programmed and set up all handlooms in the territory. A complex and sophisticated art in the loom, because there are 1,800 yarns to set up an handloom. While in the history, they learned to remember this complex mathematical code of the yarns in the handloom through songs. And then in the rhymes of the songs is hidden the mathematical code that can produce a particular kind of fabric or texture or a different one. Well, this magistrate revealed to us their codes, sing their songs, we recorded the songs, and then we write to the paper these mathematical codes that the destiny it could be to be lost. And after, to give an opportunity of sustainability to these weavers, we think about how to do, because you consider that to produce 1 meter of handmade fabrics, of hand-woven fabrics, it's necessary from 3 to 6 hours of work. And of course, paying a fair wage for these hours is impossible to think to sell these fabrics to a normal fashion industries. Well, in this context is born the first idea to create a high fashion ethical brand, because only in the high fashion, only in the luxury sector, is possible to obtain the money to pay a fair wage to these weavers, to these hand weavers. Well, the young and weavers learned from these old women, and then we recreate all old tradition of Byzantine and Greek fabrics in our region. And after, begin to think how to repropose these fabrics in the modern way, in a fashion way. And well, we started to cooperate with the best designer. For example, we had as a creative director the old creative director of Marni, to say something. Well, we go to Milano because, of course, Calabria is in the south of Italy. And we go to Milano. In the center of Milano, we obtained from the Milano city an apartment confiscated to 'Ndrangheta, to the mafia, to the Italian mafia. And in this apartment, we created our showroom and then started to participate in all Milan Fashion Week. Well, actually, Cangiari is the most ethic high fashion brand in Italy. Not only for the handloom, because of course all clothes of Cangiari is characterized by his hand-woven fabrics from the Hansen tradition of Calabria weaving. But also because we are the only one high fashion brand in Italy that produce all clothes only with organic materials. Well, all of Cangiari's fabrics and clothes are made with organic materials and coloring for maximum respect of the ecosystem and the well-being of the wearer. We use a certification, GOTS, Global Organic Textile Standard, and then all our materials, yarns, to make the handloom fabrics, but also the fabrics that we buy from the industries, because our clothes is a mix from handmade fabrics and industrial fabrics, but all organic. And also, of course, the colors of our clothes. Ethical, because Cangiari is made by social cooperatives. Social cooperative in Italy is a particular kind of company where the people, the workers, own the enterprises. Then all our workers is the members of cooperative. And of course, we can say that Cangiari brand is a community brand, because it's not owned by an investor, but is owned by a whole community of workers and people, members of this cooperative. After, the social cooperatives need to have minimum 15% or 30% of disadvantaged workers. Disadvantaged workers it means not only unemployed, but disabled people, people with mental illness, and then Cangiari is totally ethical for the producer, for the production, and for the products. Well, the limit in our history was that we wanted to remain a cooperative. Then the investors, after the born of Cangiari, wanted to offer us many money to create a big brand. But the cost of this money was to change our identity, and not to remain a cooperative, but create a profit company. And we said no. And of course, we remained without money, or only with our money to continue our activity. And then this is because we remained only in Italy, in the Italian market. We changed our products. And then after the woman collection, we created also a house collection and a bride collection, a wedding collection, La Sposa Etica di Cangiari. And we tried to diversify our products to remain in a little market. It's the market of Italy. Also, if Cangiari was requested around the world, but we don't have money to expand out of Italy our selling. Well, now this is a bad situation, of course, for all in the fashion world, in the fashion production, because of course coronavirus create a crisis for all us. I think that after the coronavirus pandemic, the world will be more conscientious. People will pay much more attention to their health, to the environment, and to maintain safe their world. When I think it will change also for the consumers. For example, consumption of organic food has increased much more than consumption of other food. I think fashion will have the same fate. Ethical fashion, but especially organic fashion, will play an important role in the future of the fashion world. We, at this time, have suspended the production because all fashion world is stopped in Italy. We suspended the production of Cangiari clothes, but also the production of third-party clothing, because of course we produce also for other big brands. For example, we produce the first line of Versace. But we are reorganizing and to aim through e-commerce and through e-commerce to sell our products, ethical fashion products, around the world, reinforcing our origin identity. After, our social cooperative would like to offer its production chain to the clothing manufacturing on behalf of third parties. Made in Goel, the cooperative that produces Cangiari, is one of the few organic clothing production company in Italy that has GOTS international certification. Then we can produce organic clothing also for third parties. We can produce many kind of products: women's wear, men's wear, sportswear, wedding dress, lingerie, underwear, beachwear, accessories, and we have all party of the supply chain services: cutting, tailoring, ironing, packaging, quality control, prototypes and pattern book, sartorial treatment, and also embroideries machine and embroideries handmade. Well, from now on, we will no longer be just a niche and a world fashion world. We have to deal with the world that has changed, and we think the way it will be organic fashion to maintain safe the people and to maintain safe the environment and the world. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Vincenzo. Wonderful presentation and wonderful job. So now we have here a lot of different experts. The time is yours now to ask questions, comments, or things about needs and solutions for those needs that we have currently on this time of facing the coronavirus crisis. So the floor is yours. 3 minutes maximum per person, please. Straight to the point. Who is the first?
Yes, hello. It's Leila Kebir from University of Lausanne. I really enjoyed the presentations, both presentations. Thank you very much, and thank you also, Antonio, for organizing this really great webinar. I had a question on the last presentation. It's about this organization in cooperative. Do you think that being a cooperative today makes your company, your business more resilient or more stable than if you were a profit organization? Do you think that this type of organization is favorable to face crisis, or is it more difficult?
Okay. Antonio, I answer immediately, or we wait?
Yes, you can do that. Yes, please do that.
Okay. Well, I think without doubts that cooperative can be more resilient than another profit company, because we involve all our workers and our members in all our crises, and we discuss together how to do, how to solve, how to create a new way. And then being a community, of course, democracy, it's also a complication sometimes. But in this situation, you see the stronger side to be a cooperative.
Thank you. Other intervention? I'm sure there are a lot.
Hi, good morning.
I can just add to that real quick in terms of, because so we built a consortium. It's like a for-profit consortium, but also from engineering, in times of crisis, cluster systems are the strongest system you can have, because even one item falls out, but the system itself will hold. And just having one head and a lot of small ones, or just one single unit, it makes it very slow. It makes it very difficult to move. And a lot of agile people together in a system where there is a workflow and where is that a shared framework, that makes you super resilient and super adaptable. And it's actually also from a human perspective, it's a lot of fun, because you're working with a lot of people who are very passionate about what they're doing, and they have lots of ideas. Just as a little side note.
Yes, a very good side note. Thank you, Lisa. There were other comments? Nice.
Yeah, hi. Can I ask a question?
For sure.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So thanks for both presentation. Really liked it. I had a question for Lisa, but I think it anyway, so if it's if of your interest, Lisa, you mentioned about, and I like the picture with the scars from the workers in the health sector, because it's really something that we are close to. How do you work with them? So in the sense that for the design, for the innovation side of it, do you co-create somehow with them, for example, the mask or the the protection gear? Is there any collaboration going on? Because I would be interested to know how you do this.
Yeah, you mean in particularly for in the health sector?
Yes.
Or yes. Well, the interesting thing is, so people work with you when you can offer a solution. Mm-hmm. So in the end of the day, I'm a problem solver. And what everybody needs at the moment is manufacturing, needs understanding, capability, and also openness and willingness to actually explain to non-experts, which quite frankly, 8 weeks ago, I wasn't an expert. We are in a time where the person with one eye is the king amongst blind people, because nobody is an expert. We've never been through this. There is no handbook. So like actually that, flattens the curve, so to speak. It's just like, okay, let's just admit nobody knows, throw ego out of the room and let's get to work. So that actually makes an advantage at the moment, because especially when you work with people in like medical gear, and because it's so highly certified, it's so complicated, and also people kind of like lock down outsiders to come inside this holy grail, because it's very competitive and very difficult. So that is actually the first hurdle, that almost doesn't exist. And a good start conversation to create collaborations is simply just because everyone has a missing link, because the kind of products we need out there, they don't exist, and you can only create them when you work with somebody else together. So like, those people who try to be close up for a very long time, they're actually ones who are going down. You are forced to collaborate, because there's no chance to do it on your own. So as a concrete example, so this medical gear company, we wouldn't have had contact with them at all. They wouldn't have spoken with us at all. But they have a problem, and we can solve that. And we were forced to find a solution, and orders. But an available budget and available business opportunities is a very good argument too. It kind of shortens the conversation. What if, how, what we should do. It's just like, okay, so let's do business because we need to survive. Okay,
Perfect.
thanks.
Thank you. I want to hear those new people that are coming for the first time to this session. Could you put your views, share them with us?
Antonio,
Elena.
can I? Yes.
For sure.
Lisa, thank you so much for your great presentation. It was amazing to see such enthusiasm, and it's contagious, so thank you so much. I would like to ask you, in your process that you are dealing now with the difficulties of the adaptation of the gear for the professionals on health, are you talking to them? Are you listening to what they need? What are their questions with the gear? So what is your approach on that? I would like to listen to you. Thank you.
Yeah. So there, thank you very much for that. So there are two approaches at the moment. So first thing is like the fact that protective gear or like product design and overall is usually just, focused on male fit has been issues since like forever. There are stories around like heart disease medication is only tested for men. Crash test dummies, airbags only tested with men. Protective gear is always standardized on male fit, because that also means, it comes from the 50s and 70s. There was the time where women just still had to ask for permission to go to work from their husbands. So there is a whole legacy we have to deal with, and also a very complicated system, which, by the way, even the legislator have no idea how it works. So it's because it's been done a long time, and since then we haven't touched it. So that is like, but again, we are using the opportunity of this crisis to finally bust the bubble and say like, okay, now we have to break the mold. The reason how it started is like simply because we had a lot of people reaching out to us. So like we started with the mask production. I'm a female entrepreneur with a big female network, and I had like more and more like, oh, I've heard you're doing masks. I heard like, I have a friend of mine who is a nurse. Can we please, and then people just like kept sending me contact, and I like started to talk with people. And then in the meantime, a lot of nurses actually went on social media and posted without comment, just like, look at my face, look, so this is how you treat the soldiers outside in the war. And what I shared before is just like a nurse just like please help us. We also don't have any idea to whom to go to, but I can only share the story. So something has to be done. And then I simply just like started to go like, okay, so like, how can we change that? And yesterday, for instance, I talked with the Dean House. I'm learning a lot about certification. So we are now, on the one side, there is a structure which is very set and very complicated. On the other side, the solution is simply just doing it. And that is like, you know, and the power is with the people who can make. That means like the M is in manufacturing. So I simply just like went to our customers and to our, you know, German medical partners and said like, look, if you work with me, this is very, very important. Also, of course, it's going to give us a competitive edge because there's no protective gear company out there which is offering male, female, and children's fit, fully certified, made in the EU. So watch me. So also with that kind of like business argument, you can say like, well, you know, okay, let's come on, you know, let's do this. So there's on the one side the willingness to understand a system, learning something you haven't learned in school, learning something you didn't know before. Maybe it sounds boring and very complicated, but you know, you have to learn the system to change the system. And then on the other side, just like leadership, you know, look what the resources you've got and like just do it, you know, within the legal constraints, of course. But we are now in a point, we are now in a time where we can actually everything what we've been frustrated about. There was a whole, you know, debate about sustainability. Well, nobody is debating about that now because, you know, it's a given. We have to do this. So I simply just decided to see this as an opportunity and not a frustration. Also, where would be the fun in this? And just simply just take action and do it. I can continue with this. Also, like, feel free. I'll post my email address into the chat because I'm very happy to talk with anyone about the topics, how we can help, how we can share our system, how we can share our capabilities. I'm always happy to talk. I'll just share my.
Lisa, I was thinking in this case that it would be very important because I also have friends that are nurses and dentists that are going through a lot right now, and they have a lot of information about what should be changed. So I think that would be extremely important just to take a little bit of time to listen to them. So because they have the solutions, they have the solutions about what is wrong and what they need.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we did. And of course, there always can be more because like I did a lot of conversation with nurses. They sent me ideas and stuff like that. So the interesting thing from the European Commission perspective also is like that we need a new guideline and a new playground where we actually allowed to do this, because at the moment where you touch a certified item, you lose the certification. And you know, and then it's a defeat. Then it's a problem for the hospitals because they are forced to, you know, they should supply certified gears even though they don't fit. So you know, it becomes kind of like absurd theater at that point. So one of those things I'm currently working on is exactly that. You know, creating a think tank with, you know, manufacturing, you know, people and with nurses to actually design a new form of mask. And also mask is one thing. The other thing is like gowns, it's gloves, it's goggles, it's like shoes, it's like everything, right? To actually set up a framework and a workflow where not only we make a quick fix, but also where we can do this in an ongoing way to, you know, actually go through the entire gear step by step and change it step by step. So like, I'm not talking about like we're only doing this for a couple of weeks. I kind of like, you know, said like, this is going to be a project with jazz and will go on for like very many years, because we have to change legislations and policies. So that will be a thing. But like, yes, absolutely. I just posted my email address into the chat. If you have connections, if you have nurses who are willing to share, just like share my contact with them. I'm always happy to listen and learn.
Pablo, do you wanted to
Thank you so
comment
much.
or ask something? Pablo Fernández del Castillo, can you hear me?
Yes, I wanted to ask Lisa. Yesterday we heard from the makers movement, this vast makers movement trying to solve exactly the same issues that you are trying to solve. And I was wondering if you have had any contact with them because they were struggling also with the same kind of issues, the licensing, the certification, and there's a big will and production capacity that is just wishing to be unleashed. Do you have any approach? Have you approached them? Thank you.
So just to explain, so like I actually come from the maker community. I started my first company in a fab lab. So, you know, in Berlin. So we are very well connected with the maker community here in Porto. For instance, we've been supporting Viva Lab and the maker community to source materials. We actually had like the German Fab Lab providing material to the Portuguese Fab Lab, so they were able to keep producing shield protectors for the local policemen here. So like everything is about like working together. So like yes, we are in connection. The interesting thing what is going to be is because those maker labs are very, very good in rapid prototyping, like very, very quickly, but they're missing the manufacturing capabilities and also, of course, the capabilities to certify, because you need to be a legal entity and something like that. So we are currently talking with a whole number maker labs. We actually reached out to Brazilian maker labs because there is something very interesting about like that, you know, there's a country which simply has to help itself. So the idea of us sharing our IP from our designs actually came through the conversations we had with the Brazilian maker labs. So again, we're building a framework and a workflow where we say like, okay, so like every kind of knowledge which comes out of a maker lab, let's just share that. So like not everybody has to start in zero. We just like constantly just like building up on knowledge. And then the maker labs, if they hit a point where they can't produce it themselves, then the idea is like they come to us and to our manufacturing consortium, because then we can ramp it up on very high prices and very high capabilities. And also for the prices, it's like, of course, that means there will be a profit share with those maker labs as well. I'm very adamant about that as well. It's like we have to be careful that like the makers who are the innovators and putting all of their work in voluntary work in there, that they also get a profit as well, because what's going to happen is like a lot of big manufacturers just see all of the innovation and they will pick it up and just do it from themselves and don't share it back in the community. And because I come from the makers community, we are talking about that a lot. And again, me engineer, this is why frameworks and workflow is very, very important to establish that system so we can scale very rapidly. But yeah, all of that is happening. If you still have connections, I'm going to reach out to because I looked at the presentation yesterday as well, because I have a lot of connections, but not all of them. So I will actually reach out to them and say like, okay, come and join and let's talk. Yeah, because we are running, right? You just have to keep up.
We have full connection with the makers community in Spain, Lisa. In fact, we meet nearly daily. So I will take this time to say
Get
that
me involved. Yeah, totally.
You are involved from now on. Okay. We are. Thank you. We are going to create or promote different subgroups, or as Athanasius said, we want to call them not specialized groups, but nodes of a big network. Okay. The idea I will try to show you is to help co-evolving ecosystems. Okay. And you will be invited. I don't want to spend more time with that, okay? But you will be invited, I think, not only you, all of you that are here will be invited to speak more about how to help you in your challenges, because you are doing a really great job. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
More questions, more comments, please. Karel, I'm sure that you want to speak.
Thank you very much. No, it's for me already the third time. I think I could hear the presentation of Vincenzo. So every time I'm again astonished by the power they create in Calabria, because I can tell you it's a really hard way to do business over there, mafia free and also along the cooperative spirit. And actually I consider even Goel Group is a group grouping many cooperatives that they basically function as a cluster. It's a bit an atypical cluster, but still what they provide, the services they give to all their cooperatives, and the protection aspect on top of this, it's a very exceptional example. So and the one of Lisa, I didn't know it at all, so that was especially very meaningful to me, because we are trying to link a lot artists and creative industries together with entrepreneurs, and this is particularly what she also tries to do. So this is very meaningful for us, because I think that there is a huge hidden gem of innovation that is much too much underestimated. When we look for innovation, we have always the tendency to go in technology, digital innovation, but also the creative industries might deliver way more added value than any other way of innovation.
Perfect, thank you. I see now that Alvaro is here. Sorry, because I didn't show you Alvaro. Alvaro is from the Coronavirus Makers community here in Spain. He is the best one to speak about that. Alvaro.
Hello, good morning to everyone. Do you listen to me?
Yes,
Yeah?
we are here.
Okay.
Welcome.
So hi Lisa, I was hearing your speech and all of you also from the Italy, because we're interested. We have a group that is working in mask, that is led by Maria Almazaran, and he's done a great job, and I just entered because just to hear you and to see if we have to join forces, because as you said, we are facing the same problems, and at some points going internationally will make things easier for every one of us, I think. So as Antonio said, if you like to send us an email, or I can give you the contact, we can start talking. Let's see what happens. And also we are now starting to look at what's happening in Africa. Okay,
Yes.
because we have contacts in Latin America. We are already working with them, but the great question is what's happening, what is happening in Africa, and nobody knows. And
yeah, and I
that's,
think this is a great opportunity, especially like for the makers community, because the makers community usually is kind of like the first task force. So this is private people. It's just like, it's very fast, it's very rapid, and also sharing knowledge very quickly so people can help themselves. Yeah. And that is so we had that experience in Brazil. It's just like, okay, they have other restrictions, so we have to adapt to the restrictions. Makers are very trained MacGyver style. So you take a little bit of spit and tape, and then you figure it out how to get out of the room, right? And that mentality is very, very important. So and that is so they're the first task force. They're the pioneers. So yeah, of course, absolutely. We have to talk. Let me just. The interesting thing, what I see here also from the European perspective, is like, if we now take this an opportunity and actually strengthen our across Europe network and say like, okay, so like we are all united, which like the maker community is united already, but like now it even becomes more important. Now it gets even more attention. So like, let's seize the moment and strengthen those connections and use to tell the story and say like, okay, look, like, now we are like flexing our muscles, and whatever comes afterwards, we will also have like a very strong network And also like you get taken serious because like, you know, makers are always this, sometimes, you know, from the industry, like, oh, you know, you're just like, you know, tinkering in your home. It's like, no. Who was the first there? Who was the first on the ground? Who made the first prototypes? Like I saw that with Wiedewer Lab, they were the first ones who shared the knowledge and started to make visors for the local policemen because nobody else could. But they had a laser cutter, they, you know, and they had helping hands, and they were the first one who did that. And that's the stories we have to share.
Yeah, and we already know, and luckily Antonio is helping us with that, showing that the maker community can do much more that has done right now. So
yeah.
So
the new heroes.
Once the talk is over, I will ask to Antonio about your contact, your email, and we start talking. That's okay?
Excellent. Let's do this.
It's in the chat anyway, but I will send it to you for sure. We are joining force, Lisa. What this group is about, okay? And we will help you because that's important now for this fight, okay? It makes sense not only for this fight, okay? And probably we are learning, as you say, nothing will be the same, and perhaps we are making jumps in our evolution as organization, okay? And I would like to think that this relationship will grow and be stronger, okay? So come with us because I will like to continue. I don't imagine yourself speaking only with Alvaro and with the makers and again continue in different paths, okay? So please keep in mind that we should collaborate, okay? Ula, your comments. Ula is not here now. I see
think
that's
Ula just sent a message that we just left.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Antonio, just let me like take the opportunity also, like, you know, also, you know, I want to offer like my help. So like, you know, if there's anything, you know, I'm very happy and glad and honored to join the group and, you know, hang around and join. But also, you know, we are all in the mindset of like helping each other, not only like in terms of making stuff, but also in terms of reflecting and experience. So, you know, as kind as you are, also, of course, I will give that kindness back. And, you know, if there's anything I can do, besides talking, you know, always there. Thank you so much.
You are really welcome. Vincenzo, it's also for you, the message.
Yes, I would like to thank you all because I feel in discussing in the air a sense of community, and thanks because we would like to be in this community of cluster because as said Karel, we are a particular experience because of course, we are one of few social economy cluster, not specialized in only one sector, but our specialization is the changement, the development of our territory. And then we would like to give something in this alliance, demonstrating also that social enterprises and social economy can be also competitive and not only good, not only ethical. And then thank you all, and I hope we can build relationships and also, of course, out of the meetings, possibility to cooperation.
Grazie mille, Vincenzo. So, thank you, everyone. Lisa, see you. Obrigado. Soon. See you again. Bye.
Thank you so much. Stay safe. Have a nice weekend.
Bye.
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 Thank you so much. Thank you so much for today. It was amazing. Thank you all. Thank you all. Have a nice weekend.